chérie. Oh, mon ami. Oh, am I just happy to see me? Was that my budget? Oh, anyway. Today, we're going to be looking back at Victoria 3. We're going to be going for France. Now, France, they suffered a lot during the war before with Napoleon and his angry short ass. Caused a lot of problems for France, but now they're able to build back up and they start pretty strong compared to other nations like Prussia that we explored earlier. So they have a good infrastructure built. They also have some nice technologies and a decent economic system already in place so that your French campaign is more about just building on top of that, improving your citizens' lives, and changing your laws. You know, like France is a mold for what you want it to be. It really kind of drifts towards becoming egalitarian, but you can flip it on its side and become a dictatorship again. Hope you guys enjoyed this guide into France. Let me know how I'm doing in the comments below. Maybe leave a like and a sub as well if you like these guides. And let's go back into Victoria 3 to show all about France. Alright, so here we are with France. But the first things you're going to see with France is that they start really struggling hard. Their population is below 10, so it's just because they have so much population, you got to try to let them build up, and what you're going to want to do is you're just going to want to build more. So as you start with a decent amount of wheat farms and all that, but you want to switch over here as soon as you can. Of course, you have an input shortage of fertilizer, so building fertilizer, switching over to soil enriching is going to be good for your wheat farms. Your mines are already set up pretty well. You just want to expand them. You also have access to quite a bit of trade resources, including silk, cotton, sugar, tobacco, tea. You have access to all of these, so you can really expand and cover all of your needs, which is something that you can't do as Prussia because French start with colonies. For their industry, they have a nice amount of industry with food industry, textile mills. Pretty much everything is covered. You just want to expand as you can. And you also have some urban centers starting too, so services will go down too as you expand more of your urban buildings. Other than that, their research, they have a good amount of research done. I would not focus on military as much because you're going to just want to be defending yourself. You won't really go into any offensive wars until later because you pretty much have all your stuff covered except for like opium, but you only use that for military anyway. So I would focus on production or society. The French gameplay heavily favors society gameplay. So what you want to do is I usually go for either nationalism, modern sewage, or realism, pharmaceuticals, stuff that unlocks new laws. Like labor movement's a big one because then you can unlock better laws like wage subsidies and all that to help increase your standard of living for your people. So I'll do labor movement first, and then we'll do nationalism so that we can help increase our citizens' lives. And then we look into our shortages. We have a shortage of iron. Iron is very expensive on our market. We do have some decisions: low organization, expensive military goods like ammunition, and of course low standard of living. So to deal with our iron shortage, we need to make more iron mines and probably for the time being import some iron, especially from the American market, Prussian market, Belgian. We can afford to import all this iron, even though it does give us a bureaucracy deficit, so we may have to dial it back on a little bit of those. So I think this one gives us the least amount. Yeah, there we go. We've used all our bureaucracy, so we won't have to increase our bureaucracy so that we can import more. That should fix the shortage. The iron is still very expensive, so we will want to build some iron mines. But again, we have the technology of the pump, so we don't have to worry about that. Like everyone else over here does not have that technology, so we can really invest in it. You just want to look for who has the most amount of iron mines, which right now is Alsace-Lorraine. We're just going to pump that full of a few more. That'll be what we build when we get our construction sectors. Now, I've already started some construction sectors, just kind of dotted them around France. You'll want to take it slow. Like the French game is taking it slow, building up your economy and just trying to make allies. So your allies, what you want to look for is Britain. Britain's a big ally. Spain could be good too, but it's kind of antagonistic. Prussia is pretty good because Prussia and Austria will fight, so you want to pick a side in there. The Brits are going to start antagonistic, but if you can make friends with them, it's going to be really good because if Prussia forms Germany, their AI will try to start World War I. So that is not going to be good for France. Like historically, that was not good for France. One thing you want to look on is our culture. So we have two primary cultures, but the French culture have an obsession with wine. So keeping wine's price low is going to keep your population happy. So that's one thing you want to really worry about. For French, the Octans, of course, have wine. So just, you know, a good amount, 70-80% of your people are going to be obsessed with wine. So keeping the wine's price as low as possible is going to be your number one goal as France. radicals. Now, if we advance a little bit, we see we're going to get some radicals. We don't even have to really increase our taxes either. I haven't touched our taxes for the French. I've only taxed a few things, which I honestly don't think I need meat. I honestly don't think I do. I think I could do without it. In fact, we probably could do without a lot of these. Yeah, let's remove that consumption tax on liquor. That way we can increase our people's standard of living, because they start with a consumption tax on liquor and wine, which is like a big no-no. You want to remove that immediately. That way you can increase your standard of living, people will like you more, and that's all that's really for. We are going to have to get some transportation going, because we do have a deficit of that. There's shortage of engines, so we'll just have to try to build it more. Pretty much pick a state anywhere that has a nice positive income. I like to do the earnings here, so Aquitaine will be a really good place for it. And then for the laws, the policies, we start pretty good with a righteous government, with landowners, armed forces, Catholic Church, and industrialists in the party. Intelligentsia are suppressed naturally, so the rural folk are very unhappy, but the righteous government, we're pretty good. So what laws we have right now, we have a monarchy, we have wealth voting, which is really good to have. We'll want to go eventually to universal suffrage, and then we have cultural exclusion, which is not great. It helps you adapt more people. I would get multiculturalism as soon as possible, just for that increased interest group support. It completely flips your political systems. Interventionism is pretty good, but I usually go for laissez-faire, because we get more construction sector allocation, more companies, more capitalists and shopkeepers. They just invest more, so I usually go for laissez-faire first. That way we can get better. Once we can, we'll go for putting on a health system, and maybe increasing our poor laws, increasing our workers' rights, things like that to help our people feel better and do better. All right, insufficient agriculture, they serve our purposes. We're doing fine, a lot better than we did with Prussia, because we're gaining loyalists about the same amount as radicals, just a little bit less than radicals, because we have reduced the consumption taxes. Spark of revolution, oh boy, who will lead France to the future? You can choose to keep him here or oust him. It really depends on what you want. I will keep him, so that we can try to evolve into a more revolutionary state. France is one of those states that you can evolve it, because you start with a huge amount of territory, a whole bunch of states. You just really have to climb yourself up. We're already starting to climb up to rank 2, or almost rank 1. And for the journal entries, you want to do from farms to factories, so you can get more people in factories, urbanizing it, branching out, which is for your railroads, and the steam engine, munitions industry, philosophy department, all that. The Great Hunger is something that will start. Poverty crisis, springtime of the people is where your radicalism starts booming, and then you can start making France a liberal haven. Now this is after Napoleon, so you could decide to try to increase the revolution's power, or you can try to go back to the monarchy. France is really what you make of it. It's a stable economy that you can build, so you don't have to really play much war games, because other than maybe Spain in the south, or Britain, or even Prussia once they form Germany, you don't really have to worry about it in the early game, because they're kind of stable and secure. And I'll start by improving relations with the Brits and with the Spanish and with the Prussians. They're kind of cold. The Brits are cold to us just because they kicked Napoleon's butt really easily. You kind of want to sit back and build up your economy as France, so that you can get your people living better. Once you do that, you'll be doing really well. So our private sectors, because of the new DLC and patch, added this private sector stuff into it. So our private sector is going to be building their own constructions as well. So even if you're doing nothing, you're still going to be having people produce stuff for you. It's great. And we do have low organization in a couple of these ones, don't we? Yeah, this one right here. So I will go for experienced offense planner, and then we also will have a bit of a navy. So France, again, it's very secure because they have a bit of a navy, they have a bit of an army. You don't really have to worry about it. You just have to build it up. Your main worry is going to be this right here. Your standard of living is going to be your main worry, because your people are the most dangerous thing to you. As any French ruler knows, your people are the most dangerous thing to your rule. They don't really have many special events. They just kind of, the standard events, like, urbanize, deal with hunger, poverty, going on to radicalism, all things like that, because they're a true Victorian age faction. Like right now, we have more loyalists than we do radicals. I said that, and then we lost a bunch. So their peoples are very volatile, but that's okay, because you're going to be just sitting back trying to keep them happy more than you're worried about foreign powers, because the French just got through with one of the worst revolutions ever. I mean, I say worst, but it was pretty impactful for the rest of Europe too. So the French, that's pretty much the gist of them. You just want to keep on going. Oh, City of Plenty, you'll get some good things like this as well. You'll get some standard of living increases, and there we go. Now we got them up to 10. We're going to be doing really well. Don't worry about going into debt, especially as the French, because you're going to want to try to pump up those constructions so you can build more, get more done, and get more people into jobs, because you want to get those peasants out of the peasant farms. Increasing your standard of living and literacy, GDP, all of that stuff is going to keep you as a top dog in the European theater. You can go either of two ways. You can branch into liberalism, or you can go back into conservatism, become a despot, and bring France back to where it was before. So you'll get these random events, they'll keep it interesting, but France hasn't really been fleshed out that much compared to places like Germany, forming Germany, or even Great Britain with their colonization efforts, or America with settling the West and fighting Mexico. France doesn't really have that much of an active role in the world stage at this point because they're more concerned with getting themselves built back up. So it's not as exciting as the other ones, but it does have its place. I do think that the French can be built up to be a world power again, and you can even bring back the Napoleonic era where you take back Spain. So now we've got laissez-faire, and first thing you'll notice is we can have a company and our income has got a bit of a boost. Now for the companies that I'll choose, you already start with the Magdese. It's for textiles and coal mines. You already start with that one, but you can have a new company. You always want to look for the prosperity so that they can build up fast. I would either go for the orchard, because this one's going to be really good because it's wine and you're going to want to keep that. The champagne foods, which is really good too, it increases the birth rate. The prestige is good to have. This one is good too, French home goods, because the loyalists from standard of living increases and the radicals from standard of living decreases for the textiles. So I will probably go with the orchard, and then the next one we can form, the French home goods. I love the company system. Just my own personal take from this. It's really historical and it's awesome to see. So we'll establish the orchards, which will increase our prestige once it gets up. And then pretty much just sit back and let it go. The next one we'll do is either free trade, keep poor laws. Yeah, our health system, charity hospitals would be one to go for, but it's got low support, so you have to build some support for it. We do have freedom of conscience, workers' rights, child labor. Those ones are ones you're going to want to go for once you get the people in the government for it. Professional army, I usually keep that. So the next one you'll go for is probably healthcare system. You want to be careful because your trade unions, even though they're marginalized, they could still cause a bit of a problem. So we'll do charity hospitals. That way we can increase our standard of living and our health of our citizens so we can reduce their death rate. It's something good to go for. But again, you're going to be spending a lot more time in the politics system with France than you are with the other ones because everything else is pretty set up. Their economy is set up to where it's churning out stuff pretty good. You can let it expand on its own because the only thing you'll have to worry about is building certain industries, like whenever you see something too expensive. But other than that, you can let it build on its own because it has a plentiful amount of people. It has a nice foundation because France was a powerhouse before they got knocked on their heels. So the only thing you have to worry about as France is your politics and which way your people will go. Right now we're doing really well, but it can flip on the turn of a dime. You don't have to worry about your economy, but you got to worry about your people. That's how you play France. So I don't even have to open up these journal entries. But branching out, increasing your rails, urbanizing France, from farms to factories. Pretty much these ones are what you're gonna want to worry about. They don't have anything unique because they don't have to form anything. You're just gonna want to keep an eye on them because France is pretty much France. They don't have anything to form. They don't have any major goals other than just transforming France into what you want. So it's like a clean slate. It's like a molding clay. The French people are. So you'll want to keep an eye on that. Keep your economy in the background and worry about your politics because you start off with a hefty amount of stuff. You have enough colonies all over here. The French have colonies in Africa here. They have colony in America. You can start incorporating those colonies, but again, you gotta be careful because you don't have that much bureaucracy. So you got colonies everywhere, You can start building these up. It's pretty self-explanatory. They even have a protectorate over in the Indies here, Tahiti, build stuff for them, It's just, the French is a very stable playthrough if you want to learn how to do with the politics of the game. If you just want to have political fun, that's what the French are for. So that's why I play France, for the political game, but you don't really have to worry about the military game at all. The only wars that could break out would be, again, with Germany forming, with Great Britain getting too angry with you, or maybe Spain getting too uppity, but overall, you have a sizable force. You have about 187 divisions, 100 ships. You're going to be able to defend whatever front you need. You don't have to really rush to build more units. You could just sit back and focus on economic gameplay and all the while focus on leading France into a liberal beacon in Europe or yet another dictatorship. So I hope you guys enjoyed my little France guide. I know it wasn't that more eventful of a guide because there's no real goal that the French have to secure because they've kind of already got their nation formed. They have a little bit of colonies everywhere. You don't really have to do much expanding. What you want to do is you want to focus on your people and getting your people lifted up to where the French are the best in the world. And that's the true to challenge France. So I hope you guys learned a lot. I hope you guys enjoyed. I wish you guys the best of luck in your own French campaigns and dealing with your arch enemy, your own people. So hope you guys enjoyed it, and as always, remember to leave a like, comment down below, shout me out in the comments, maybe even sub to my channel if you like what I do. And as always, remember to keep it strategic, Strat fans. Colonel out.